think as an 18-year-old, I felt like the world is mine to conquer. I'm going to be back at the next Olympics and try and make that semi-final. That was the thinking in 2000.
You've gone for national sports and everything. लड़ाई हुई है कोई किसी के साथ?
Fights, the only fights that actually happened were always with the federation,
So people do pee in the pool?
Of course, we all pee in the pool.
Welcome to another episode of The Tuhin Show. A city is known by its culture, history and people. And we are talking about one such city in the series called The Icons of Bengaluru. My guest today is the lady who swam into her dreams and made it come true. She is the only athlete in India who has won 14 golds at national games, represented India in Olympics, Asian Games and Afro-Asian Games. She runs her swimming academy in Namma, Bengaluru. Arjuna and Ekalavya Award winner, Nisha Millet.
Hi, Tuhin.
How are you doing?
Good. I'm so excited to be part of your show.
You can start your food grain business. It will be called Nisha Millet.
I know. I get so many people calling me for different events when it has something to do with millets. But funnily enough, I am the most unhealthy person and I really need to take advice and eat some millets as well, right? Just to get my health going. And we have a world champion called Stephanie Rice. So the famous joke was who would win, rice or millets?
Rice or millet.
Yeah, but in this case, rice would actually win. She's Olympic champion, I'm not.
But this is the apt representation of Bangalore.
Really?
Millet.
Yes.
Superb. But your story, you had a near drowning experience at the age of 5, then you started swimming and you went to national level. But your father was the main support for that. How big is the support of parents in making somebody's career?
In my case, it was everything. I did have a dream. So I was just 10 years old. I was watching the Olympics on TV, the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. And I saw Matt Biondi, this great American swimmer, winning gold medals, and he looked like a dolphin, doing his butterfly stroke. And I just suddenly came out with it very loudly. I said, I want to go to the Olympics. And I think the best gift my parents could have given me was not to laugh, right? Because it's a 10-year-old kid who's just learned how to swim and you're talking about the Olympics. And in all seriousness, they said, sure, if that's your goal, we are behind you 100%. And the other good thing they did with me is they always made it my choice. So they said, you want to go to a party? Sure. You want to go swimming? It's your choice. You want to quit tomorrow? It's your choice. So I always felt like I had the power over my career. And I always chose swimming over everything else, whether it was parties, friends, drinking and smoking. Didn't go anywhere near that because at the end of the day, you want to get to the Olympics, there's only one way. That is, focus and determination. Yeah.
But tell me one thing, is it only in South that parents would say you have to do well in studies also and sports also?
I find this is all over India. If you see even a city like Mumbai, they have excellent swimmers up to the junior level. Right. And then it's so competitive when they get to college. You need 85-90% just to get into a good college. Or that's when you see a lot of the talented swimmers dropping out and pursuing studies. Right. So now I would say parents have to do a total 360 degree because right now the sports business is the business to be in. You can have a sports management company, you can be a sports physiotherapist, you can be a sports psychologist, you can run an academy like me. Right. So you can continue doing something you love, not just for the passion and for following your dreams, but also to feed your family, to build a business, to build a brand. And I'm telling so many parents that, your kids don't have to be engineers and doctors or lawyers. Right. They can be in the sports business and still have a great profession. So parents need to now slowly move away from the premise that only being a doctor or lawyer means you've made it.
But then you have to choose the sport in India.
True.
Which federation is pushing the sports person in which direction? Yeah. Because if the federation is not helping, then you will have to go solo.
Yes, I agree. I think unfortunately in India with swimming, it has to be the entrepreneurial spirit that you have because the federation doesn't do anything. Okay. Maybe 1% contribution to whatever I've done till now. So it was purely the fact that I had a very bad experience when I was learning how to swim. And my dad actually took the time to make swimming fun and got me to love the water first. Right. That got me to enjoy swimming and I went to the Olympics. So my thinking is if I get others to learn and love the water like I did, we'll have not only more Olympians, but drowning is the second leading cause of death in India. Even more than COVID, more than even malaria. So if you look at it that way, teaching people just a life skill is so very important. So if I'm looking at it that way, I decided to get into grassroots level. We do have a competitive team, but my dream was to see everyone swimming. So when I see this year we taught 274-year-olds.
Okay.
And so when I see these uncles coming and saying, my grandkids are in your classes, and then I go out to a nice vacation destination, I can't jump in with my grandkids.
Right.
So I want to learn how to swim.
And it's required also for your lifestyle as well. It's a great exercise if you're swimming. But tell me one thing, in 2000, you were the only lady representing India in swimming.
Yes.
How did that happen? How did that time work for you?
Yeah, so in fact, it was a long, tough road. I learnt in 1992 and, at 1996 at the Atlanta Olympics, I was already national champion, and there are many events. So there were 4-5 of us who were top in our events, and none of us made the Olympic qualifying.
Right.
So the international swimming body sets these timings to ensure that the people who come to the Olympics are of a certain standard. Until then, no Indian had qualified. So 96, nobody qualified.
Right.
Some money exchanged hands, which is the common thing in India. And, this girl who's never swum before in India and never will again went. She's from the US. Her father was Indian, her mother was American.
Okay.
Came down, obviously paid some money. She went for the Olympics. And then that's when my parents said, we're not bribing anybody to get you to the Olympics. You have to earn your way there. And, they say the Olympics is a 4-year training cycle.
Okay, no, your talk, it was like background music coming.
I know. So once I missed out on that 96 Olympics, I realized, wow, I've got 4 years. I need to do everything possible. So it required a lot of sacrifice. I love my sugar. I gave up on sugar. I love Bangalore. I love my friends here. But I decided that very close to the 2000 Olympics that I needed that international exposure. I needed more competition because I was beating all the girls in my age group. And I said, let me go somewhere where swimming is an obsession almost, which is Australia. So my mum came with me to Australia. We went to Perth, which is a smaller city, but a really good club that I got to train with. And that's the first time I would say I had sports professionals working with me.
Right.
So, we're talking in 2000. So in India, it was so tough. I think the only people who had professionals working with them would be our cricketers. We couldn't afford them and we didn't have access to them. So here I'm in Australia, an 18-year-old kid. I had access to, a psychologist, somebody doing biomechanics, checking every stroke I'm doing underwater. And that really made the difference. That, and I think the Aussie attitude, the never say die.
Right.
You have a bad day, they say, quit whinging, Nisha, get back into the pool and give it your best. And so I remember that morning when the evening was where I was going to try to do the qualifying time. I was 2 seconds away, and 2 minutes 6 seconds was the Olympic qualifier. I was at 2 minutes 8. And it seemed like a lot. 2 seconds in swimming is quite a lot.
Right.
And, I dived in the heats. I said, let me just have fun. Let me just go through my race plan, how I've been visualizing it all this time. And I touched and I won my heat. And I was so excited. I was like, great, I'm going to go in a good spot for the finals.
Right.
And the first thing I do is always, before I even look at my time, is look at my mom or my dad. My dad and my sister were unfortunately in India, but mom was just going ballistic on the stands. And I'm like, what happened? And she's pointing to the scoreboard, like, look at your time. And I looked at the time and I had done 2:06, and I had actually qualified for the Olympics. So probably one of the greatest feelings was calling my dad, and my dad and mom have sacrificed so much. They've sold their house, put into the sport, just to support my sister and me. Casually, he's like, was it a good time? I said, yeah, what time? And I said, 2:06. And he said, oh my God, that's the Olympic qualifiers. So that is the moment of such excitement. Of course, I think when he went to the media in those days and you had to literally approach the media, there was some, cheating scandal in cricket. And they covered that. They didn't even cover the fact that I had qualified. But I didn't really care. I was so excited. I was on the way to my first Olympics.
Wow. But the only lady going from India,
yeah.
what was it like when you're going with the entire contingent from India?
I think the most exciting part for me was getting to the Olympic Village, seeing the biggest names in sport, and because you're wearing that Olympic ID and you're wearing the India flag, they treat you like one of them. So they could be an Olympic champion, they're going to talk to you with the same amount of respect. The highlight for me was meeting our team captain, who was Leander Paes. I'm a big Leander fan. He was already an Olympic medalist. He was world number 1 along with Mahesh.
Got a bronze medal in
Atlanta,
96.
the previous one, yes.
So Leander Paes.
Leander Paes is like my big hero. I had posters of him up on my walls when I was young. So the fact that I'm going to be in the same team as Leander, he was our team captain. I had this whole speech rehearsed, and I'm quite a chatty person, but I had a feeling I'd be quite blown away when I saw him. And I jumped off the bus in the Olympic Village, and there was Leander Paes. He had shaved his hair off. He was totally bald at that point. And I was speechless. I forgot all my lines. And then he came up and he said, Nisha Millet, you're one of the youngest in the team, and good job being the first, Indian to qualify for the Olympics. He knew everything.
Right.
This is why I love Leander. Leander is like the ultimate team captain, the ultimate motivator. He spoke to me for maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and that made my whole Olympics, I mean, I've had some great stories, but somebody that you've grown up watching, an Indian who's now 7-time Olympian. How crazy is that, right? Probably the GOAT of Indian athletes. So I think the fact that, when the Olympic torch was being lit, I was in tears. I was happy tears, and I was like, oh my God, I made it, and there was not a dry eye in the house. Everyone is so emotional.
But you were in Olympic for the first time.
Yes.
You just couldn't qualify in semis, but before that you were qualifying. Fat rahi thi?
I think when you go in and you hear Nisha Millet, India, and there are, I think there were about close to 8 to 10,000 spectators just for swimming, and swimming is huge in Australia. So it was great. I won my heat. The reality, I was still nowhere near the top 16 is what it took to make the semis. But it feels like your big moment in the spotlight. I was wearing a full body suit, which very few people had got. One of the brands had sent it over to me, and that gave me so much of confidence. So I think as an 18-year-old, I felt like the world is mine to conquer. I'm going to be back at the next Olympics and try and make that semi-final. That was the thinking in 2000.
But do you think the timing in India that time worked for you because ज़्यादा competition नहीं था ladies के लिए?
Unfortunately, what we didn't have are just resources, funding, exposure to foreign coaches, better facilities, even just sports science. Sports science has come so far. My daughters now are 10 years old, and they probably have more scientific training than we had. The passion was there, the hard work was there, but just not enough. We didn't have that team of experts working with us.
Right. Yeah, because nutrition is one part of it, and the biggest example is Kohli in India. The entire hockey team is onto it right now. Djokovic. Djokovic is a big example of sports science. He's a full science experiment in front of you.
Exactly. Even somebody like a Michael Phelps, right? His lung capacity is almost double of a normal human.
Right.
His wingspan is, his fingers, when he stands with his hands down, his fingers almost touch his knees. So just, most of the top athletes have size 13 to 14 size feet. So you're talking about just being, different, built differently.
वो तो आके उसने सारा गोल्ड उठा के चला गया वो ओलंपिक्स से.
He has 23 gold medals, which is, triple the number of medals as India as a country. So if you look at it for one individual to have 23 gold medals at so many Olympics, he really is, I think, the greatest of all time. There's always this, who is the greatest?
See, he was built like that because in newspaper, I know there was a cutout which came about the body of Michael Phelps. And I was like...
He's built for the pool.
What about the trans participation now? What do you have to say about that?
That's very controversial. In fact, just the other day, a friend sent me a video of one of the top male athletes who was winning even at the men's level. He's a good 6'4", 6'5". He was the tallest in their team, men and women. And now he's transitioned, and now the transition's fine. Now he wants to compete with the girls. When they did allow him to do that, he actually lapped, or was 30, 40 seconds in front of some of the Olympic champions and the top swimmers.
It was very recently this has happened.
It's very documented. So I feel, unfortunately, while I'm all for the LGBTQ, transgender, the rights that they deserve, men have more testosterone. We know that testosterone, does help you swim faster, build muscle, which is why doping comes in, right? Why do women take high levels of testosterone? Because they can be more like men, they can build muscle. So it's just unfair in terms of he's much taller. He's got things like testosterone. He's got more muscle mass. It's just not fair in the sport of swimming. Now you take maybe a sport like shooting or something where the physicality doesn't play as much of a doesn't make as much of a difference, where it's more about skill. While swimming is very skill based, it's also a lot about how tall are you, how big are your feet. Now could there be a games where transgender athletes train and compete against each other? Great, I'm all for that. But it's just not fair to the other women on the team. I don't think that's where I draw the line.
Like the man was hitting rank 400 in men's.
Yes.
Came to the women's heat,
Yeah.
and he's the number one.
Number one in the world. Like nobody will touch him, right?
Yeah.
So that's really not fair. And I think it's not just about being transgender. Even maybe 10 years ago, there was a great technological advance in swimsuits. And they started making swimsuits which are not fabric anymore.
Okay.
They were almost like space-age materials. Like you pour water on it, it just rolls off.
Right.
And in 1 year, more than like 120 world records went. And then the whole swimming community came together, and the federation, the World Federation said, wait a minute, this is not great for our sports. It's taken years to break these few records, and in 1 year, it's just been too much. So they banned those suits. They insisted that, all swimming brands have to have textile suits. And has to be approved by the federation. So fairness in sports is so important.
Right.
So I don't think it's possible, unfortunately, for transgender, men to come in and compete against the women.
It is very unfair.
Yeah.
You are a 14-time gold medalist. So when you used to go for national games,
Yeah.
कहाँ के लोग सबसे ज़्यादा problem देते थे?
I would say Karnataka is always number one, but we have our toughest competition from Mumbai, Delhi swimmers, couple of the Goan athletes. But for me, I think this was at Manipur National Games. The most tough part for me was not even swimming those 14 events. Actually, I swam 15. I got 14 golds and 1 silver. But it was the fact that we had heats and finals. So I swam 30 races in about 5 to 6 days. So that was exhausting. And we didn't have a heated pool. We were not fancy in those days. So we had a non-heated pool in Manipur in the middle of winter. So my biggest achievement is just swimming through the pain of, fingers will literally be turning blue, your lips would be slightly blue. And to just motivate yourself to go in, get the job done. And the sad part is I came back to Bangalore, and they're like, wow, she's a hero, she got 14 gold medals. We're going to give her 1 lakh per gold medal, which would have helped my career enormously in terms of funding for my parents. And then finally the government turns back and says, oh sorry, we don't have that kind of money, so you got 14 gold medals, instead of 14 lakhs, here's 1.4 lakhs for you.
What?
So from 1 lakh, they brought it down, and it was so disappointing and so upsetting to know that, my parents are selling their house here. I've done this for the state, and I think all that comes from the little bit of a, the jaded feeling of a lot of the athletes who were not getting the due, who were not even getting prize money what was due to them.
Yeah.
They're supposed to get a plot from the government, never came through. I think after maybe 2000, almost no athletes have gotten it. They would say, give us this many lakhs if you want this plot.
So what drama by government, man?
Yes.
They keep it or they can't deliver it? What is it? What's the whole story?
I think the problem with the government is that they overpromise, and then they didn't expect anyone to win 14 gold medals. They're thinking 1 or 2 medals, to give one athlete so much money. So it was just very sad. Instead of 14 lakhs, I got 1.4 lakhs. It was helpful in a very small way, but you feel like you've been cheated of what you promised. And the funny part is the previous national games, that was in Bangalore, Videocon was the sponsor, and so I got 8 gold medals. I got 8 washing machines.
8 washing machines.
There's such a fun story where we had just moved to Bangalore, so we kept 1 washing machine, and then we exchanged the others, and we kitted up our whole house. So we had brand new TV, fridge. So at least that would be fun, where you can at least utilize something, right? So it's just hilarious, the fact that now when you look back at it, it's quite funny. But those days they were so upset by the whole thing.
You ever thought ki I'll go for silver, तो मुझे AC मिल जाएगा?
Yeah, I swear. So now because we have funding coming in, somebody like Neeraj Chopra, what a star,
He's a star.
Nobody can touch him. A small town boy putting in hard work, and the fact that, almost about maybe 5 to 10 crores was invested in him. That's what it takes to produce an Olympic champion, Unfortunately, we didn't have that. But to see that at least it's happening now in non-cricket sports, that gives me hope that yes, we'll start winning. If you look at it, we are now meddling in so many different sports. And so my hope is one day, and my dream is that swimming being a sport where it has the maximum number of Olympic medals to be won. I'm really hoping that funding will come into that, right?
You've gone for national sports and everything. लड़ाई हुई है कोई किसी के साथ?
Fights, the only fights that actually happened were always with the federation.
Okay, not with other people.
No. I think generally some of the closest friends I have, even till date, are my swimming friends.
Who are your best friends in other sports?
I would say my closest friend is Aparna Popat. She's one of the legends of Indian badminton, 10 times national champion, Commonwealth Games medalist. And she is just someone with, the best work ethic and the best attitude. So we'd catch up on weekends, we'd go and have one corner house ice cream, one nice pizza, We would treat ourselves only on the weekends. In the weekdays, we were serious, we were focused on our sport. And this is one line of Aparna's that I like. She says it's a choice. If you really want something, then it's not a sacrifice. You're choosing this over something else.
Right.
And so I chose to leave my parents, leave my sister, come to Bangalore and train. So even I did something similar when I was living in Chennai. My dad said all the good swimmers are in Bangalore.
What's your Bangalore story?
I love Bangalore. Like, I'm from Chennai.
Right.
But now if you ask me, I'm a Bangalorean. I've been here from the time I was 14. I'm 42 now. There's absolutely no reason I would go anywhere else. My husband has been born and brought up here. My kids are Bangaloreans. And, at the end of the day, even when I see some of my swimmers or even other top national swimmers who go out of India, they want to study, even in the field of sports, I keep telling them, do whatever you want to, get your expertise, your knowledge, but come back to India.
Right.
Come back to Bangalore. The biggest problem for athletes these days, I feel, is just to focus, right? They have so many distractions.
See, that's there. And like Neeraj Chopra, if your success is like Neeraj Chopra, you can fall as well and you can rise as well.
Exactly.
So what he chose was to rise and support other people.
Yeah.
So since he's supporting other people, he's also focused in his sport.
Yeah.
And everybody's looking up to him.
Yeah, really. And I think even the attitude, which is why, I have this bias. I'm totally anti-cricket, only for the sheer amount of money and attention that it gets from everybody in the country, right? So when I was in Australia, once we were having a state swimming competition and the top Australian swimmers were there. And in the other pool on the side, I think it was Adam Gilchrist had come in with his son to swim. Now, if this was India and that was Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli, they would stop the swim meet and just go and watch, But here they're like, oh, there you go, there's Adam Gilchrist. And they're like, okay, great. And they go back to watching a state level swimming competition.
Right.
So, I want all sports to be treated equally. So when Neeraj Chopra won and I heard that javelins were selling out all over India, it's such a moment of pride. Or when my neighbor, he lives just downstairs, Rohan Bopanna at 43, he's a year older than me.
Won a Grand Slam.
Yeah, Grand Slam, world number 1.
Yeah.
He's been competing for 20 plus years. That is the Indian sporting story of someone who doesn't give up, who's seen it through tough times. It's so inspiring. I feel we don't have to look outside our country. We have such great stars. Mary Kom, mom of 3. When they had the movie on Saina, we watched it and my kids got so emotional. There's a wonderful new movie called Nayad about this, swimmer who's...
When you mentioned that you train 70-year-olds, I was about to talk about that also.
So what I'm excited about is not even just winning medals, but also the number of Indians and Bangaloreans who are so passionate about sports. So you have 65-year-olds. I have a 65-year-old man who trains with me who's going for the World Half Ironman Championships.
Okay.
He does 3 sports. I train at 1. He does swim, bike and run.
Yeah.
He's 65. He's also a triathlon coach. So I'm so excited to see sports becoming a passion for people.
What are your top 3 places to go to in Bangalore?
In Bangalore, I'm a big foodie. So I'll always choose some kind of ice cream parlor, like a corner house.
Of course.
And go and, experiment with all the food. But what I love is Cubbon Park. I love Cubbon Park. I'm quite a big runner for many years. And the other thing I love to do is go to the airport. I used to love just driving and getting to the airport.
Achha.
I feel just that vibe that's like buzzing with energy at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And now you have that beautiful T2.
Yeah.
You go there and you feel so proud that, wow, I can, call this city and this wonderful airport. I think it's one of the top 10 airports in the world that's been nominated.
Where do you get the best dosa? The dosa you like?
I have 2 favorites. One is, of course, the very decadent, full of ghee, full of pudi, Umesh dosas.
Okay.
So there's one in Indiranagar, there's one close to Windsor Manor.
Okay.
And I would say the other one would be the all-time favorite MTR. That ghee masala dosa.
Yeah.
Oh, my kids and me, we do this every Sunday. It's a ritual now. We do 5:30 a.m. swim, 8:30 they have a gym session. I do my workout too. By about 10 o'clock, we're like, let's go to MTR, let's have that dosa.
So dosa with sambar or with chutney?
With sambar always.
With sambar always.
I'm a sambar person. Yeah.
Okay.
But no dip, separate.
Okay.
If it's, idli sambar, vada sambar, separate.
Okay.
It has to be crunchy.
What about kids these days? What do you have? What's your take on Gen Z?
Gen Z, I think they're very distracted. And I think a lot to do, a lot of it is to do with social media, right? While social media is great for business, it's great for information, for putting yourself out there. One is this obsession of being an influencer. And there's nothing wrong with that, but if you have a skill and you're going to showcase that on Instagram or on, that's great. I have all appreciation for that. You're a chef, you're putting it out there, your videos. Just being saying and doing silly things and being an influencer, that's not it for me. So as parents, we're trying everything. So I think what we need to do is, one, put our child into some extracurricular activity. It's not just about studies. Try out different, even if it's a sport, try out different sports. Just because I'm a swimmer, I didn't presume my kids would be good in swimming. They have chosen swimming now, but they still they tried out badminton, they tried out gymnastics, and then they realized that, okay, I like swimming more than the others. So give them that choice, and at the end of the day, it's their dream, it's not yours. Your only goal is just to guide them to do what they want to do, not what you want them to do.
So do you think a lot of people say they're aware? So they have information, but they lack knowledge.
Exactly, and experience, right? So I think being not only a parent but also a friend. So like my kids know that they can come and confide in me. Like one day they'll say, I've been swimming 6 months without taking a break. I want a day off. Give them that choice, that it's your life. You are in charge of it. And that's something my parents did for me. Like you said, they have all the knowledge. They're so very smart. They have access to the best facilities, but they need to know how to put it all together. So for me, I feel sports is something that really brings discipline. So whether or not my kids get to the Olympics, I don't care. Even you would think that I want my daughter to win an Olympic medal. No, I want her to go to the process of being a sports person. Time management, packing your own swim bag, managing your nerves at a competition, learning to deal with loss and failure, losing all the time. So, when COVID happened, a lot of the sports people, we would be talking and we'd say, don't you think that swimming or any sport has given us mental strength? Because at that point, you're stuck indoors. It was a hopeless situation, scary. I find that the people who went through it easiest were people who had that dedication, that focused training as a kid. What sports teaches you is that you can never ever stop. You'll have tough times and you keep pushing on, like a Rohan Bopanna, right? Imagine if he had stopped. 5 years ago, he hadn't won a single tournament in about 5 months. And he decided to continue, and now he's world champion.
Now he's a national hero.
Exactly. So, it's just about just sticking to your path, figuring out what you're good at. And I was lucky where what I was good at is also something I was able to monetize and make it a passion.
But on this, of course, you had the swimming background. You got into teaching swimming. How big was a part your husband played in this?
It was huge. I think people now forget how important that role is, because not only is my husband right now my life partner, he's raising twins with me, and we also run the academy together. So I can't tell you how much of a support he plays. And he comes from a totally different background in terms of him not being a professional sports person, having to learn what it takes. And now he's a father of 2 professional swimmers. So they're also they're competing now at events. And it's also sometimes as athletes, we are very, very selfish. We are the center of everyone's, the coach is talking to you, you have your trainers talking to you, everything is on you, it all becomes about me, me, me. So I think the greatest learning for him is he's given so much, but he also tells me, don't be selfish, you're not a swimmer anymore, So sometimes I have to take a step back and say, yes, it's not all about me, it's about my husband, it's about the family, about my kids. But every diaper that I change, he changed an equal diaper. I feel there are no gender roles anymore. It has to be equality in all ways. We have our own separate bank accounts. So I'm not dependent on him. He's not dependent on me. We pay individually for each of our kids, So I pay for one child, he pays for one child. So this is the modern marriage, where...
Who's pampering more? You or...
I would definitely say I pamper a little more. And I'm a big birthday person. I'll go splash out on gifts. So last time for our anniversary, it was our 15th year wedding anniversary, and he said, what do you want? And my mum was expecting me to say diamonds or something. I said, I want weightlifting shoes. And he's like, sure. He knows, this is who my wife is, this is who I'm married. She's, I'm training for the CrossFit Open, which is like a new challenge for me.
You watch movies?
Yes, I do.
What kind?
Mostly a lot of these suspense thrillers, even the books
Okay.
I read. So I'm big into that. Of course, sports movies, right? I watched like King Richard about Venus and Serena Williams. I was
What a
crying.
movie that
yeah,
was.
it was amazing. I watched Dangal. I was in tears. So you give me a sports movie, I'll obviously watch only that.
What are your top 3 favorite movies?
So yeah, I would say number one was King Richard, just because I resonated with it so much. Being
Not much of drama in that movie.
not
though.
drama, but just
है ही नहीं.
I was crying because like I can see Mr. Williams just like my dad. I can see Serena and Williams like my sister and me. It just the entire story was like watching my own life, play out on screen. Yeah, sports movies. Dangal would be my second favorite, just to have that raw passion, the tough upbringing of these girls. So I'm just a big movie buff, and my favorite part of movies, caramel popcorn. No caramel popcorn. Once I almost left. My husband's like, "Didn't we come for a movie?" I'm like, "I also came for the caramel popcorn. Come on."
Wasn't there तो अभी movie नहीं देख
Yeah,
सकते.
exactly. So I'm a big movie buff, but yeah, I mean, I love all genres. I think we should watch different kinds of movies. And at the end of the day, I'm not such a big Bollywood film buff. I would say I would like the hard-hitting movies more. Yeah.
Who are your top 3 favorite actors? Bollywood.
Bollywood, I would say Shah Rukh Khan. I would say Deepika Padukone, only because I know her, to see where she's come. Amitabh Bachchan, of course, just
Amitabh
for
Bachchan, right.
being Amitabh Bachchan.
बिल्कुल मोहतरमा ऐसा ही होता है.
So I've actually an ad with Amitabh Bachchan.
Oh, you did?
So other people got more excited about it than I got, but he was in this project that I was doing, and he's talking in his Bachchan voice, and then he's actually introducing all of us. How
Okay.
cool is that, right?
What was he saying?
We were talking about the fact that we're doing these child-centric homes, and he was saying, if your children, you want to give your children the best, and what better than to put them with the best of these athletes? These people have their own academies here. Bring your kids to their academies. I was like,
Wow.
wow, Amitabh Bachchan's talking about your academy.
Let me take you back. अपने बच्चों को अकेडमी में डालिए और निशा मिलेट की अकेडमी में जरूर डालिए जिससे वो तैरना सीख सके.
Wow, that's a great invitation.
So, okay, give me the actor's name. I'll ask you the next question. This is a rapid fire with Nisha Millet. Okay, the first question Amitabh Bachchan की आवाज में ही पूछता हूँ. चलिए. What do you have to say, love, hate, tolerate about Bangalore?
Oh my God, that sounds. Oh my God, who is that?
Yeah, love, hate, tolerate about Bangalore. जरा बताइए, देवी जी.
So love. I love the weather. There's nothing like Bangalore weather. What I hate is the traffic. It's horrible. Going 5 minutes away takes you 1 hour. Like everyone's sick of that, right? So my car is like my home. Tolerate, I would say, just the crowds. I like the buzz. I don't like crowds, like banging into people. But
Crowd
tolerate
देखने
it.
तो आप एयरपोर्ट जाती हो.
That's true. Buzz. I go for the buzz, not the crowd. Yeah, let me hear my Shah Rukh Khan.
निशा मैं जानना चाहता हूँ तुम्हारा सबसे क्रेजी इंटरनेशनल ट्रिप कौन सा रहा है? क्या हुआ है तुम्हारे साथ बताओ.
Wow, that's a great Shah Rukh Khan invitation. He was once speaking in the same event as me, and I just missed meeting him. And he called all the speakers up to his hotel room, and he was regaling them with his stories. But I just missed hearing that accent live. So yes, my best trip would definitely be for my 10th anniversary. I went to Barcelona with my husband. Went to Spain. We went to a beautiful island called Menorca, and it was so lovely. We'd do a small Vespa. We'd travel all over, go to small little towns, eat the tapas there. But my favorite part was just coming out of the hotel room, walk into the beach, get into the ocean. You can see 16, 18 feet down, clear water, swim up to an island about 3 kilometers away, swim back, come out, have some nice calamari, some mussels, some amazing fresh seafood, then have a gelato. What a trip, right? And my kids were very young. My mom sweetly looked after them. So just that freedom and, seeing a different country, exploring it and feeling like you're one with the people, eating their food, doing the things that they do, dancing with them. That's what I love.
But what about the crazy one? Because you've gone international with other athletes as well.
Yeah.
वहाँ parties वगैरह भी होती हैं. So what's the craziest thing you have ever encountered?
I think for me it would be Las Vegas. I was just 14. I got a scholarship to train in America, and the family I was with, they took me to Las Vegas. Here I'm this quiet Indian girl.
But सबसे crazy क्या देखा है? मतलब give me some scandalous stories ना. From
Scandalous stories, I would say.
कोई दारू पी के गिर गया या कुछ हुआ, थप्पड़ मार दिया.
Forget about that. I was at an 18th birthday party of one of my swimming teammates in Australia, and this man comes out revealing the cake, huge cake, 3-story high cake. and suddenly he starts stripping. And
Okay.
I was 16 and this is an 18-year-old's birthday party, and he starts like, and her parents had got her a stripper for her 18th birthday. Come on, like would you ever see that in India? No. I was just blown away, you know.
Amir Khan. Okay. और मुझे एक बात बताओ, ऐसी कौन सी चीज़ है जो तुमने पहले करी है लेकिन दोबारा नहीं करोगी?
Oh my God, Amir Khan was.
कौन सी चीज़ है?
Pierce my belly button. Never again. Every time I come out of the pool, my swimsuit it would rub against the belly button and I would be crying in pain. I was
Okay.
like, what is wrong with me? I was trying to be cool, like a cool kid, you know, a teenager. Let me get a belly piercing. Not a good idea.
No, not
Never
good
again. No.
Professional hazards.
Yeah, totally.
हाँ, next name.
Ranbir.
अगला जो सवाल है तेरे लिए वो बहुत सिंपल है यार निशा, वो ये है कि what is your useless talent?
Useless talent, that's a good one. I have no idea. Let me think about this one.
You know, I have a useless talent.
Okay, tell me.
And that is, see, can you see this finger is big, this
Yes.
small. Now this will become small, this will become big.
Okay.
Goes.
So those kind of useless talents.
That's my useless talent.
I would say, yeah, useless talent for me would be lying to my kid for 10 years about being Santa Claus, right? About not being Santa Claus.
Okay.
Tooth fairies. Suddenly in COVID, my daughter lost her first tooth. 200 rupees had to come magically, you know, under the... So finally now my kids are 10. I've told them, listen, Santa Claus is not real. Tooth fairy is not real. Welcome to the real world. So no more talents
My
anymore.
talent worked for 10 years.
Yeah. Then they said, Mama, we knew. We saw your handwriting on the gift. We knew it was you. So apparently I'm very useless at even this talent. Hrithik Roshan.
I mean, I just want to ask you, what's the right way to get your attention, Nisha?
The right way to get my attention nowadays is to lift something really heavy.
Okay.
I can do like a 120 kg deadlift.
Okay.
So if you want to chat with me, you better be up there over the 100s.
120 deadlift.
Yeah.
Then my back will not be there. What impresses you otherwise?
No, I think for me it's about how you treat other people. Kindness, I feel, is the most underrated quality. So even as a boss, as a human being, if you're kind, I'm a fan of yours. You can be whoever, I don't care what your status is, how much money you have. Are you kind to other people and to yourself?
And if a movie is made on you, what would it be called and who should play the role?
Wow, that tough girl who never gave up.
Okay.
And yeah, I would definitely, since I have to choose a girl, I would say Deepika Padukone, because I've seen her play badminton as a young girl myself, and she's really talented. So I want somebody who, I don't want this size 0, you know, actress playing me. I want somebody who's an athlete herself to play me. Because then you can really portray that, you know, that how you feel when you're winning, when you're losing, it'll come more naturally.
मेरी दीपू वैसे भी काफी सारी मूवीज में बिकनी पहन के घूमती है, इसमें भी तैरेगी.
No bikinis. Bikinis are not fun for competitive swimming. All vanilla swimsuits. What about Sanjay Dutt?
मेरे को ये पूछने गए कि what is flirting for you? Flirting is
Flirting
what?
is passe now. In the past. Happily married for 15 years. So yeah, flirting now, I have to be careful of all those boys and flirt with my daughters.
Okay, what is your go-to snack after a swim?
Sugar, chocolate. I love dark chocolate. I'm trying to be healthy, so I'm eating dark chocolate, right? Because if you want to try and say that chocolate is healthy, you have to say dark chocolate.
Do you get hangry?
Very. So you need to give me my food. You know, I'll do my fasting 16 hours, but when I have to eat, I want my food.
What is your go-to food?
I love Chinese food.
Okay.
If it's, you know, that feel-good food, something you do very well in something, or you have a bad day and you want to go to that, Chinese food and some nice ice cream.
You can never say to ice cream.
Yeah, of course. And
Like
there's some amazing Bangalore brands. There's a couple of them who are homemade ice cream. So I try to say that must be healthier, right? They're putting better products. So there's a great brand called Ulo. There's another great brand called Nom Nom. So I like these batches. You get small little boxes. I finish off one myself. I buy 4 because
दोनों बहुत महंगे आते.
So my point is like YOLO, right? You only live once. And tomorrow if I died and I didn't eat that hot chocolate fudge sundae, not done.
Death by chocolate.
Yeah,
from
death by chocolates, a
Corner
nice
House.
chocolate sauce, you know, any day. So for me, food is bae.
Anybody ever threw a pickup line at you?
Oh, lots. Like, you know, a lot of these swimming pickup lines.
What is it?
You know, so like, baby, you must be doing an LT set. We have a lactate set because my heart rate just went up, or something like that. All these, heart rate jokes and swimming jokes. And then some very corny ones I can't mention on camera.
Tell me, it's okay.
So like, I'm going to breaststroke my way to your heart. I was like, no, cancel, no chance.
Okay.
You lost that one.
So what do you think when you're swimming? Are you counting? Are you thinking about grocery? Are you thinking about...
We are normally singing songs. Like I've done one workout where we did 4 into 1,500 meters. So that's 4 into 1.5 kilometers. You're swimming for 2 hours. And you're just continuously doing flip turns, looking at this black line. So you start singing songs.
What's your song?
My song, I love like a Metallica song. Earlier I used to listen to those Nothing Else Matters, the more sober things. Frankly, now that I'm over my 40s, I'm listening to the hardcore stuff.
Right.
So
what are you listening
to? The
to?
Bell Tolls, or one of those, I'm like, there's a band called Tool, which is one of my favorite, So I love that, and I feel that kids nowadays listen to K-pop, including my daughters. Come on guys, listen to all this great music that's out there. The great bands who've come before, and there's a reason they're that, Even an Aerosmith, Dream On, where that chorus picks up, such a great sports song, like going into a competition, going into a race, I would listen to that, right?
Nice.
Like Enter Sandman. To get you pumped up, you're swimming a 1 lap 50-meter race, you listen to some Metallica, and this girl who's always chatty and smiling becomes super focused. I'm going to kill everybody, I'm going to win that gold, I'm going to break that record, So I feel as an athlete, that music plays such a big role into putting you into that mental frame of mind to compete.
Thappad marega bhi kisi ko?
No, but I do the stare down,
Okay.
So if you come and stand in front of me, put my hands on my hips, I do some flexing, I'll come and look you straight in the eye, and my eyes, I won't blink, I won't look away. So then I mean business.
Any unexpected thing you have found at the bottom of the pool?
Oh, we found so many wedding rings and, shoes.
Shoes?
Shoes. People are like running around the pool and it slips off. So, putting out all this. But yeah, the only disgusting thing is when you have to pull out people's clothes. You're like, what are they wearing now? If I find clothes at the bottom of the pool, what are they wearing? So this bad Indian habit of putting things over your swimsuit.
So people do pee in the pool?
Of course, we all pee in the pool. You're in the middle of a big set, you're leading, 10 people are swimming behind you. If you stop, all 10 will stop, you miss your interval. No, you just pee in the pool. That's why there's so much of chlorine, right?
Yeah.
Chlorine's great. Chlorine kills coronavirus, for God's sake. So, of course, pee is nothing compared to that. Yeah, so all swimmers pee in the pool, and even sometimes when our little swimmers in our academy say, we need to have a toilet break, why just pee in the pool? And they're like, oh wow, my coach just told me to pee in the pool.
Okay.
Everyone does it, let's all do it. Sometimes I'm holding a little kid on my lap, and you'll feel something warm, like they're sitting and chatting with me, they're sitting on my knee because they can't stand. You need to go to the toilet? Already went, ma'am.
So it's okay to pee in the pool?
Yeah, it's fine. There's so much of chlorine, it literally kills everything. It's one of the safest places to be.
Okay.
Because chlorine deactivates even coronaviruses. So pee stands no chance. And chlorine does not tan you.
Acha.
So this is one of the biggest myths I like to break about swimming, is that direct sunlight tans you and the reflection of the water. So you swim in the same pool at 8 p.m, you're not going to get tanned. I've had people go and get married a few days later and not have a little bit of tan. But you go to Goa and you stand on the beach and you're playing in the waves and you come back to tan. So it's just the direct sunlight and the reflection of the water. It has nothing to do with chlorine.
Okay. What's your go-to dance move?
I go to dance move, I do the Charleston,
Okay.
Front leg, back leg. It's an old-fashioned move. Or I do like the Pulp Fiction, John Travolta, and the little shake. So I'm quite like I said, not very self-conscious when I'm on the dance floor. I'm not a good dancer. I don't care.
Do you fight with your husband?
Yes, I'm very loud, as you can tell. So my normal voice is like this. So
and you go non-stop?
Non-stop, and then finally he'll just be like, either he close the door so that I stop talking, or he'll like, speak to me later when I will be a little more calm.
Nothing on grocery, towels and everything?
No, we love all our stuff. What I can't stand is he loves to fish. He's obsessed with fishing. So I'm just like, okay, you have a room full of fishing equipment. Now the same amount you spend on your fishing equipment, you need to buy all the 3 women in your life gifts.
Poor man, surrounded by 3 women in the house. What's your message to people, to the swimmers, to other athletes? What do you have to say?
Yeah, and even to all the young girls and the women out there, I'd say take care of yourself first. And this is something Indian women don't talk about too much. Everything is just self-sacrificial. I'll be the best mom, the best wife, the best daughter. No, if you're not fit, if you're not mentally and physically healthy, you can't do anything. You're not giving enough. Whatever you give will not be your 100%. So my main thing is mental health. Go talk to a friend, talk to a therapist. I have been to therapists, as athletes we were taught that, weaknesses shouldn't show them in public, your competitors are watching, the press will pick up on it. But now I'm realizing that vulnerability is so important. We need to put ourselves out there, talk about our challenges. I've just started perimenopause. So to all the perimenopausal women out there, you go through so many changes.
Right.
And get help from a mental health professional, get help from a gynecologist if you're going through things. At the end of the day, connection is key. When I go to work out in the gym, it's not just about the exercise, it's about the chatting with my friends before, after, people encouraging me. So I think look after yourself and everything else will fall into place. Make sure that you live your life for yourself and look after yourself before looking after everybody else.
Last but not the least, this is the Olympic year.
Yes, I'm so
and
excited.
we had a great stint at Commonwealth Games. We
Yes,
got 107 medals. Who are the athletes you're counting on?
Neeraj Chopra to win back-to-back golds. This is the first time ever. He's right now on his way up. I think his stats will show. Tennis, if we can get Rohan Bopanna to win an Olympic gold medal for us. Come on, Rohan! Not only
Rohan, stop
Rohan
construction!
Come on, Rohan, I want you to win that medal. It'll be such a great story. Boxers, I think wrestling we have a great chance. Squash getting into the Olympics, and we have like
Yes.
Saurav Ghoshal, Joshna Chinnappa. There's so many good athletes that we can look forward, and I think the shooters always come back and do well. But if you can see the tennis players win that doubles, mixed doubles or the men's doubles medal, that will be fantastic for the sport. Swimming, I would be thrilled to first see our Indians qualify, but also to make a semi-final. And we have two very, very strong swimmers, Srihari and Sajan, who are amazing in their own ways, and they really have a good chance of getting to that semi-final. If there's a IPL match going on in the Olympics at the same time, I hope you're going to watch the Olympics. You know what? So that's the kind of passion we need from the public.
Vedant Madhavan is also
Yes.
trying his best.
Yes.
So
I'm
let's hope
excited for
the
this
best.
young gen of athletes, right? They have the best facilities. Vedant, with his father having the connections, getting great training. My coach Pradeep Kumar trained him as well. A lot of the swimmers now are in the NCAA. Our Indian athletes, the top swimmers, are now swimming in American colleges, and they're doing the NCAA Division 1, swimming competitions, which are the most powerful. You're swimming with world champions, Olympians next to you. So yeah, just excited, guys. It's the Olympic year. Make sure you're watching all the sports equally.
Last two questions. What do you
Yeah.
have to say? You're an athlete. You
Yeah,
go
yeah.
different places. You've started socializing as well.
Yes.
What is your thing with the P3 the parties?
I love parties if it's for networking, good food, good company. I just can't stand the ones where, it's a really boring sit-down dinner, where you're stuck and you can't move around and, mingle with others. And, I don't drink, so if you're doing a wine tasting, the food and your wine is wasted on me.
Right.
I would have spent a grand total of 15 minutes getting ready. So that's like the athlete style, right? But now a lot of people are doing this athletic leisure wear.
Yeah.
So that's my style. That's what I do.
That's her style. That's Nisha Millet, who is an icon of Bengaluru. This is the Tuhin Show.